Well, I managed to hit the wrong button and I stopped the video, so I'll do a short video on the last little bit of the garden. And this is another daylily. It's a bright orange one, which I absolutely adore, and I finally found a spot where it's happy. So it's going to be staying there. And that's my bay leaf. And that little red camellia down there was a gift from my sister. And my dogs, when they were puppies, they absolutely tore it apart. And it's taken 6 years for it to come back to the point where my sister had bought it from the store and given it to me. So it has survived. So I'm happy about that. And over there, I've got my Clivia plant, which isn't looking too crash hot because I need to find a spot where it's happy. So I've kind of shoved it in the corner there. Hopefully it gets enough shade and it will recover, but it's covered in flowers. So I'm looking forward to them because these are the very, very big flowers. You get another Clivia that's not as nice as this one. So I'll look after it. And that's an Azalea that I dug up along with, I think, 6 others down there. I'll try to turn slowly. My bay leaf, which won't be staying there. It's going to be moved. It's only in a pot. It gets way too much shade there. And down here are raspberry plants. So they seem really happy. They come popping up and they can't go nuts. They can't take over because they're locked in here. So there's really nowhere for them to go. So hopefully they'll be alright. This thing is a hibiscus, which it'll be alright. It's been moved a few times, so it's not happy, and same with this one, but not too sure about that one. It's looking a bit deadly. Anyway, that's my to-be worm farm. It's a mess, but when I'm ready, it will become a worm farm. And that is another hibiscus. It's a white one, which is okay. Not sure what that thing is. I haven't put it in the ground because I'm a bit worried about it becoming a monster. So it's in a big pot with another Azalea. And there's a couple of fuchsias that were from my sister. And there's a sick looking fuchsia also from my sister, but I've moved it back here in the shade, so it should be quite happy, and it's not as windy here. It's got a few little native orchids around it. And that is my lovely yellow orchid that I brought with me. It's really the only orchid I bothered to bring with me, and it wasn't happy where it was, so it should be quite happy where it is now. And another one of my 40-year-old azaleas in a pot. So hopefully once they go in the ground, they won't die because I've had them for so long. And these are my port wine Magnolia cuttings. And I took them from the main plant. That one's looking alright, but this other one's not too happy. So I think I piled the grass around the base of it too much, so I've pulled that away. And I'm hoping that it will be happier now. Be ashamed to lose them after I've spent all these years caring for them. My spider plants in amongst. They actually don't like the sun, so it's quite shady back here and they can take over. And a bit of comfrey and some irises about to flower. And that's pretty much it for the backyard. Okay, the garage is still a big mess. But that's my son's car. He's fixing it up. He's taking his time about it, but he'll get there. Anyway, we need shelves in here. And we'll be getting those soon, and then we can organise these last few things properly. So, this is my collection of jars, and I'm no longer going to buy the ball jars because they're just a ridiculous price, and the lids, they're making a killing on them because you can't use the jars without the lids, you see. So they are just charging over the top prices for those lids. So as far as I'm concerned, they know what they can do with their ball jars. So I've been collecting for quite some time just normal jars from the supermarket, and I've got boxes of them. So I'll be using them, and they actually do very well in the water bath and the pressure canner. So that is what I'll be doing from now on. Well, you might remember many years ago I did a video on these 4 trees. There's another one. Yeah, there's 4. One slightly behind the tank there. They are ornamental pears, but they're not the column ones. They actually grow into a proper tree, which I didn't know at the time. But they still give you beautiful colour, and they seem to be doing quite well where they are, along with my, what do you call them? Lilacs? No, not lilacs, lavenders. And the weeds, lots of weeds. And this corner gets waterlogged. So because the concrete people did such a dodgy job on our concrete, they will come back and do this section in good faith. So we have to hold them to that. And they can make the water come around here. And there's somewhere around here there's water pipe, so they can just tap into that, and the water should continue down the gutter there. And all the water that we use ends up on our block. None of it, apart from the tank water. When the tank overflows, ends up in the street gutter. But most of the tank water, when it overflows, just runs out the top and runs down here and gets stuck along the house there, so it's got to be fixed. So anyway, they can do that as a good faith towards us, which I'm quite happy about. So, well, not sure what's going on here. This is one of my bottle brushes, and it's looking very unhappy. And this used to have the porta potty toilet from the builder next to it, and it could be because the conditions have changed for it, that it's not happy. But anyway, I'm hoping that it recovers, because I bought this like 5 years ago. And here's the other one that I bought at the same time, and it is just covered in flowers, so I can't wait for this to bloom. So here's one of my grevilleas. It's doing pretty good considering the builders almost drowned it with water. And another bottle brush, doing pretty good. And that one over there is a miniature fig that my sister gave me some time ago. And it was in the main flower bed, the boomerang shaped bed, and it would have got too big, so I moved it, and it's doing pretty good here. It gets a lot more shelter here than it got before because of the gum trees there, because the wind usually comes through here from the back towards me, so it will be happier. And there's another addition from my sister. It gets into quite a big tree, no idea what it is, and ends up with a white fluffy flower on it. So my lavenders are all doing pretty good. I put them in a long time ago. And these are my grapevines that I ripped out from the other place. 2 of them. And they're doing okay, although they've got some disease on them again. They're getting like these lumpy splotches. I don't know what that is, but I don't want them for any other reason than they look nice on the fence, so they can stay. And that's my flowering gum. Looks a bit funny with the stick the way it is, that I had planted over there where the tanks are originally, and I had to move it or it would have got killed. So I moved it, and it's doing pretty good. And what else have we got? We've still got another grevillea. It's almost as tall as me. And my lavenders, which are looking okay. I don't know why these flowers are kind of droopy. Maybe that's just the way they grow. Must be a bit weird. And this was a cutting, not a cutting, it was tiny two-leaf plant that I found on the ground at my sister's place when I picked up those raised garden beds that she gave me. And I've taken care of it ever since. And look at it now. So, and this thing, I don't know what it's called. I call it the glass leaf plant. It's not happy. I have to actually plant it. It just grew on its own, so I kept it all along. But I think it needs water. But anyway, they're tough as old boots, these things, so I'll plant that one out the back where the major garden bed is. Okay. Oop. Neighbour's driveway goes all the way down there. That's the people I told you about that bought the block behind us. And they're about to build. Anyway, this is where I had all my plants that I brought with me. And there's only 2 pots left full of dodgy strawberries, which I don't want the strawberries anymore, but I want the soil. So I'll lug them out the back and chuck the soil on top of the veggie garden, because as much property as I have out here, we actually don't have a lot of spare soil. So I love this one because it's not purple, it's a pink. I've never seen a pink one, and it looks white, but it actually has pink flowers. And over here I bought from Bunnings many years ago, at least 5-6 years ago. It's a Crepe Myrtle, and it's supposed to have brilliant red flowers and they're nice maroon leaves, but it actually hasn't grown a centimetre since I bought it. So I think I'm going to have to pull it out and find another spot for it. I don't know what its problem is, but anyway, I shall rip it out at some point and stick it in the backyard somewhere. Okay, so that's it for me. That's our front yard and our fence and our shed, a few spare bricks. That pile of junk on the ground there, that's my hothouse in pieces, and I think it's going to stay that way. So I don't know. We still haven't decided what to do with it. Anyway, I'm going, and I know it's a long video, and this is the second part of it, but I just wanted to show you my garden. Oh, and what do we got here? Dragon fruit, but it's never actually amounted to anything. Although, since I've moved it down the side here, it's kind of protected by these trees from the neighbour. It might be okay. So anyway, I might just leave it here and see what it ends up doing. Okie dokie, I'm going now. Have a good one.